And go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the experience, but I'm not Drew. I am Justin from SpineBusterTees and SpineBusterTees.com. Today is my birthday, and if you guys are wondering what's going on here, I just threw it out there as a joke. Really, be like, hey, maybe I'll be the host for my birthday, and Drew took it seriously, and he was like, "Yeah, you'll just be the host for your birthday." I'm like, "Okay, sure, whatever." But we're here one night only, and we got a lot to talk about here in the wrestling landscape, the wrestling world. Here today is June 18th, 2025. We are live here on YouTube.com. And we're also live on the Wrestling Soup Discord under the experience. We're also going to be having this here uploaded on Spotify, Apple, and on YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts as well. You guys already know me here. My name is Justin from SpineBusterTees and SpineBusterTees.com, and the co-host tonight, which is very, very weird to say, by the way. I don't know how this is gonna go, but hope it goes well. He is here, and he is
Drucifer Yarcifer. What is up, people? I want to thank Mr. Justin for taking me under his wing and showing me the way. But
show me the way.
Show me
no,
the
it's
way.
not like Johnny Gargano though. But,
no. But again, happy birthday, Mr. Justin. You're 21 again. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, for the 16th time. Yeah.
Yeah, you got good genes, man. But
yeah, I appreciate that.
But it should be a fun show tonight. It's always a fun show, but especially tonight will be a fun show.
Yeah. So we'll get into the wrestling news and wrestling topics here. But first, Drew, how are you doing, man? Like, how's everything? How's your week? How's everything been doing in Castle Yari?
Castle Yard. I can't complain. Next week is gonna be me and the missus 13 years.
Ooh.
The day after that is actually gonna be her sister's birthday, which is actually the same day, which is actually the same birthday as our friend RJ.
Jeez, man. So it's a lot of celebration going on. Shout out to RJ.
Yeah, shout out to RJ. Somewhere out there in South Carolina, where he's at.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty content. I can't complain. Been working a lot. Having a hard time sleeping as of late.
It's the weather, man. It's like the rains and it gets hot again, and it rains and it gets hot again. So yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, man. And it's just one of those things of just like, I usually try to fall asleep at 11, like I'm 50 apparently. And as soon as I lay my head down on that pillow, thinking I'm ready to fall asleep, my brain just doesn't want to turn off. And I'm just there tossing and turning, looking at my phone, and by the time I know it, it's already like 2, and I gotta be up at 5:30. And the other night I got at least maybe 90 minutes of sleep.
Only 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty serious.
Yeah. I mean, it helps that I'll come home and I'll nap just to kind of, refresh my bones, so to speak. But sometimes it
have you been going to the gym lately?
I've been bad. I haven't been going this past week. But I will be going. I will be getting back on that horse because I had a system in play. But like you mentioned, this weather's been screwy. It's been raining. It's been hot. It's been raining. It's been hot. It's been hot raining.
Yeah.
It's nuts, people. But from the way it looks, we're probably going to get rain for a while. It's just going to stay the way it is. I don't think it's going to be in the hundreds anymore. I think it's going to be like mid-90s, which is serviceable for a.
You mean anymore for the rest of the summer?
I think for the rest of the week, it's going to be.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know if you want to take that bet, but okay, yeah, I get you. Yeah,
it's going to be mid-90s, so fine with me.
Have you been watching the NBA Finals? At least been keeping up with it.
I've been keeping up. There are days where I'm not able to watch it because I'm usually not home or I got something else I'm watching. But I've been keeping up. Oklahoma looks like they're gonna possibly close it out tomorrow. Tyrese Halliburton is not 100%. I know Scott Foster is going to be the referee tomorrow, which that could play a difference into how the series goes. If anyone knows
Well,
the history
yeah.
of Scott Foster, but
He's the extender.
the extender. Sounds like an action movie. Yeah, OKC's the real deal. I mean, I know a lot of people want to be like, oh, well, they had, every team they face had injuries. I'm like, yes, but at the end of the day, you still got to win. You still got to beat the team because you cannot take you cannot take your opponent seriously and lose. OKC
Right.
is very well coached and well disciplined, and they took their opponents seriously enough to win. Same thing with Indiana. Indiana took their opponents seriously and they won. So,
Right.
I know you've been paying attention to this news with our Spurs, with the possibility of
yeah.
going after Kevin Durant, which I believe we did discuss either on this show or off air.
I think it was at the shop.
Right. Next week is going to be the draft. So I think that's when teams can start like trading and doing all that shit.
The trades have already been happening already. There was a trade. Indiana made a trade yesterday, and I mean people are talking about it. They made a trade yesterday.
Oh,
It was for draft picks, but it wasn't for any players. But they made a trade yesterday.
oh yeah, I forgot Desmond Bain. I forgot.
Desmond Bain, yeah, Desmond Bain got traded.
He got traded to the
Orlando.
Magic, which that should be interesting for them. I mean, I kind of put out the bold choice of just like Kevin Durant on the team. Again, at the end of the day, he's still a walking 25-point scorer on any given night.
Exactly.
But he's also 37 years old, and he's not. I don't think he's really had that impact that he's had since he was in Golden State. Which, granted, he won a team that did beat him.
His game doesn't age because he can shoot the. He may not be as athletic, but he can still just drop 30 on you every single night. And I think that the Phoenix Suns situation is that they had no depth. It was just him. It was just him and Booker, and they didn't really have anybody else. With the Spurs in particular, Kevin Durant, I'm hoping he will not be. If we do take him, I will like the trade if we don't give up too much.
Right.
I will give up Devin Vassell. I will possibly give up Harrison Barnes in the 14th pick. That's it. I will possibly even, if they want Keldon Johnson as a fourth piece, that's fine. But we're not giving up Stephen Council. We're not giving up potentially Dylan Harper. Those are off the table.
Or De'Aaron Fox.
And really, it's really because of the Suns. They don't have any first round picks right now. They have no draft capital, so they are really looking for some type of draft capital. And the fact that they don't have no draft capital right now, they need that. And I really think that the Spurs can make a compelling offer. And there's other teams out there. There's the, he said he wanted to go to the Timberwolves, but there's the Timberwolves that can make an offer. There is the Heat. There is, unfortunately, the Houston Rockets as well. But I think that out of all teams, the Spurs have the biggest advantage. But the Spurs, they don't want to give up a lot. I'll put it this way, I'll even give up Jeremy Sohan.
Yes.
I'll give up Jeremy Sohan. Not because I don't like him or he can't play or anything like that. I think he will be still a great piece to the team defensively. But if it's to get a Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant says he wants to come here. We are his number one team that he wants to come to. So the fact that we are his number one team that he wants to come to, I think you'll do not everything that you can, but reasonably do everything that you can to try to get this guy. So that's my opinion. Again, I'll be fine with the trade as long as we don't really it's Castle and the number 2 pick, Dylan Harper. If we can keep those two and get Kevin Durant, I mean, and obviously not Trey Fox and not Trey Wemby. Those are obvious, right? Like I should have to say that. But if we can keep that, I think we'll be in a very good situation.
I mean, from the way it looks like it's going to happen, barring if Phoenix doesn't want to get too picky and be like, "Hey, we want Castle, we want blah blah," and the Spurs are like, "Well, we're not getting rid of that, so too bad." we'll give you these guys. Take it or leave it. So it's one of those things of like if Kevin Durant does come here, cool. If he doesn't, I'm not gonna like lose sleep over it. Because I do think the Spurs have a nice team to build under.
If Kevin, because the Spurs are gonna make a move. If not Kevin Durant, who else would rather have here? That because in theory you're not giving that much up for Kevin Durant. Right. We didn't give up a lot, or we could put a third team involved and do like a 3-team trade, like how we did with De'Aaron Fox. But outside Kevin Durant, who would you want to try to go get? That will make sense.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. Apparently, they want to make a play for Jaylen Brown,
But you have to give up a lot more. You will probably have to give up Castle,
right? Or
the number 2 pick.
I mean, that's another guard. Like, why would you want another guard on the team?
Well, first of all, he's not a guard. He's more of a wing. But your point taken. Yeah.
I mean, again, this is probably out of the realm of possibility. I'm looking at what Memphis does and try to get fucking Jaren Jackson Jr.
They're not going to give up Jaren Jackson Jr. And now, honestly, I don't want Jaren Jackson Jr. on this team. And the main reason, yes, he could be defensively or whatever, but again, it's going to be like another Jaylen Brown situation. We're going to give up too much, and Jaren Jackson has disappeared in games, have disappeared in playoff series. I don't know if I want to give up that much to get Jaren Jackson. For Kevin Durant, you're going to get your 25 to 30. Like, defensively, question mark. Okay, that's fine, but that's why we have Wemby. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think right now Kevin Durant is probably on top of my list, but outside of that, we really don't really know anyone else that's really out there that wants to be traded or that's on the market. Lauri Markkanen, if this was last year, sure, but not this year. I think his stock has fallen. I don't want another guard. There's no need for another guard. We already got enough guards on the team. Or really just a strong wing or maybe a center. I will get like someone like a Walker Kessler to come over to the Spurs. Someone that's defensive oriented minded and all that as well. But we're gonna talk about basketball all day. Talk about basketball all day, talk about the NBA all day. But that's not the podcast we're doing tonight. We're talking about the World Professional Wrestling here. And we're moving on to that. And first I want to bring up Drew, I'll leave it up to you first. What do you want to talk about?
I just want to talk about how it was something I brought up last week's show where I've not been crazy about these tournaments that they've had or these tournament matches that they've had in WWE recently. And that's, starting, back with the Money in the Bank, which was like not even a month ago. And now we got King of the Ring, which I put out my idea where it's just like it would have been better if, a lot of these are just singles matches. And I get why, because all these pay-per-views are just like, they're so fucking like, okay, in 3 weeks is a pay-per-view, and another 3 weeks is a pay-per-view, and 2 weeks is a pay-per-view. And it's too much, and I think it's hurting the brand, but at the same time, TKO, they're making money over fist, and they're not going to care either way. It seems like a lot of decisions WWE has been making have been more about, hey, who's making us money? Regardless of if they're going to increase ticket sales or increase TV show ratings. It's more about money. I mean, you look at Jey Uso. Jey Uso makes some money, but as far as I know, is Jey Uso a ratings, a golden goose, so to speak? Is he somebody that people pay money to see, like a Roman or a Cena or a Cody? I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes.
I mean, not to that level, but people do pay to go see Jey Uso.
I'm not saying nobody in the entire world will pay a ticket to see him. I'm saying like compared to like box office, guys like Roman. That's kind of what I mean.
Where do you think Jey Uso ranks as far as like, you don't have to give me like a direct number, but like, where do you think he ranks as far as top? I will just say top draws in the company.
That's tough. He obviously is over. He obviously gets a big reaction from the fans, regardless of what I think or what I may think.
Right.
As far as like, if he's a draw, I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question.
Do people go pay to see Jey Uso?
Yes.
Along going to go see with Roman and Cody. Do people want to go see Jey Uso and pay a ticket because he's going to be there?
I mean, I would imagine they would.
Business says so. I think there's people that come in my shop every day asking for something Jey Uso. I think that's a tell of something. At least for the San Antonio market. You know what I mean?
My problem with Jey Uso is just it's kind of, I guess, if you want to call it shallow. I guess so, but it's just like when he was the right-hand man, he was getting beat a lot, and then he becomes a yeet guy, and all of a sudden he's unbeatable. Like, that's just, I don't know. It's like, is he...
Well, I mean, that has nothing to do with his draw, though. That has maybe something to do with creative and his character, perhaps.
There's just certain people. There's just certain people that they're better off just having, as our late friend Kevin Castle, would have said.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with having a Tito Santana career. There's no shame in that. Not everybody should be in the main
event. With Tito Santana.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shame in that.
Tito Santana never really won anything. I mean, he won matches and stuff. He was the Intercontinental Champion early on, but like he was just I won't say a job guy, but he became somewhat of a enhancement talent towards the end of his WWE run.
So let me ask you something. How many people from, the golden era of wrestling, the 70s and the 80s, never became world champion, and you kind of figured out why they weren't world champion? Kind of like a Roddy, like a Piper, for example. Why do you think Piper was never world champion?
That was a different era, and I'm going to explain why. You had less title belts. You had the World Heavyweight Championship, WWE Championship, the Intercontinental Championship. You had tag team titles. That's it, right? You also, on top of that, had less shows. Mm-hmm. So you had WWE Super. I'm talking about in the 80s, right? You had WWF Superstars, and you had WWF Wrestling Challenge. There was no Raw back then, right? Raw didn't come until 1993. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, you can have somebody like a Hulk Hogan, a Ultimate Warrior, a Macho Man Randy Savage be champion for a full year, 2 year, 3 years. Like, for example, Hogan won the title in 84. He didn't actually, somewhat drop the title until late 87, right? When he lost it. Well, he didn't lose the title, but Andre beat him, quote unquote, on that Saturday Night's Main Event. And that's where he created the tournament for WrestleMania 4. So back to your question, guys like Roddy, maybe like a Jake the Snake Roberts or a Mr. Perfect. If you notice, all those champions back then were top baby faces. They were not going to put it on any heels. Not for a long time, at least. Iron Sheik won it. Iron Sheik lost it a couple months later for Hogan to be the champion. Andre won it. And a tournament happened, and it became Macho Man because they didn't want to do babyface, big babyface versus big babyface. It wasn't a thing back then, right? So, to the point of Jey Uso, nowadays you have all of these championships. You have 2 world titles, you have 2 sets of tag team titles, you have 2 mid-card belts, and you have like the women's belts as well, right? And you have 2 different shows, 2 different creatives. I'm putting that in quotations, right? 2 different creatives. It gives guys more opportunity to win. And nowadays as well, back then, there was no such thing as big office, big office draw talents as far as part-time talents, right? There was no such thing as a part-time talent back in 1989, right? Mm-hmm. So Hogan was there always, right? Macho Man was there always, Warrior was there always. Unless if you got injured, you come back. But even back then, it was kind of a rare thing because they would work through the injuries back then more than so that they do today. So, because if you didn't work back then, you'll lose your spot. So I think I get what you're saying, but it's a completely different time frame Attitude Era was different, obviously, too, because you were competing against Nitro. You had to have frequent title changes because the shows needed to be fresh. So that's why you had, like, fucking, like, Mick Foley becoming a 3-time, WWF champion that spanned, like, 3 months or whatever it was, right? It was just a different time period. I think now we're in a particular time period now where it's like, you got your part-time talent. It's like Roman. I won't consider Punk that, but Punk's a legend. He's on a different orbit, even though he is full-time-ish still. But like guys like Roman and Cena and guys like that, where they'll come in and maybe have a big match. Cena's world champion, but he's not gonna be champion for long, obviously, because it's last year. And you're going to need to start pushing guys like a Gunther. You're going to need to start pushing guys like a Damian Priest. Pushing guys like a Jey Uso and a Sami Zayn. And give guys like that an opportunity. Drew McIntyre, right? Give those guys an opportunity to see what they can do with the belt. Some reigns go for long, like a Cody, right? Obviously like a Roman Reigns. And some reigns are going to be short, like a Jey Uso. So... to me, at the end of the day, I know we're, I'm going all over the place with this, but to me, at the end of the day, I mean, these are two different time frames between the golden era and what's going on today.
Okay, so I think I figured out the right terminology. Jey Uso is better as a chaser. He's better in the chase rather than be the guy. Is that fair? Is that fair to say? Fair. Okay, good.
That's fair.
Like someone like Roman. He doesn't necessarily need to be champion because he's already over, but he works. But if you put that title on him, it makes sense. Cody is kind of back and forth because
Cody doesn't need the championship,
right? Like the chase was exciting, but Cody's
not no more.
Right.
Previously, yes, but not no more.
Right. Someone like a Jey Uso, someone like who's another good chaser. Currently,
maybe it's Sami Zayn. I mean, he hasn't became the champion yet, but I can see Sami Zayn being a great chaser, and once he becomes champion, I can see people kind of cooling off on him. I can definitely see that.
Kevin Owens was I think the perfect chaser.
Yeah, but I think people will probably want to see like a heel run with like another heel run,
right?
Ways more seasoned, right? You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, that kind of. I guess that's the perfect way to sum up Jey. He's a chaser. And it was an experiment because, like I mentioned, WWE's in a weird state where you and me had always said that WWE, for a while looked like they were doing a youth movement. Now I think they're just going with who makes some money. And Jey makes some money because, the Yeet sunglasses and the Yeet shirts sell. And at the end of the day, whoever makes you money, that's all that matters. That's why they brought back R-Truth. R-Truth, his Ron Cena shirts were selling like the week he got not let go, but his contract didn't get renewed.
Right.
And then he came back, and now it's like, oh well, we got him back. So, and also just to kind of go back to what I was saying about these tournaments is, I was liking the fact that there was a youth movement going on because at the end of the day, like. How are we supposed to create stars when we just keep pushing the old guys? You know what I mean? Like for example, on Monday, like Asuka came back, and love Asuka. It was great to see her back, but let's just call a spade a spade. And I'm gonna try to be nice when I say this. That should have been a singles match. That should have been a pay-per-view match. Asuka versus Stephanie McCool. Raquel Gonzalez. And I hate to be mean. I don't want to sound like I'm being cruel. I know she has that skin condition, but she ain't it. That's the nicest way I'm going to say it. Ivy Nile, she's not, like, offensively terrible, but she's just not very good either. Like, all in all, that was really just a two-woman match in a Fatal 4-Way match. And it's funny because I had a feeling Asuka was going to win because I don't know if they want to give Stephanie too much too soon, but then it becomes a question of like, okay, why was she in the match then? You know what I mean? Like,
so I mean, if she wasn't in the match, then there were still being complaints. Why is Stephanie not in it?
Right. Also,
it would have been that argument is not going to be winnable for anyone.
Also, let me ask you something else. In a lot of these tournaments or a lot of these like matches where the point is you're supposed to elevate new stars, like Money in the Bank and King of the Ring, shouldn't they have people in it that haven't been world champion before? Like, isn't that the
Have
point?
they? Have they not?
What I'm saying is that the point of King of the Ring is you're supposed to
Hey,
elevate.
Roxanne has never been a world champion. Jay's never been a world champion.
I'm saying main. Well, no, Jay's been a world heavyweight champion.
She didn't win the world title.
Did you say Jay or Jade?
Jade Cargill.
Okay. No, I'm saying for people that haven't had world title success on the main roster. Like, yeah.
So yeah, like Roxanne and Jade, they haven't been world champions. Sami Zayn hasn't been a world champion.
Right. My point is, why is Cody in the tournament? Why is Randy Orton in the tournament? Why is
It's for money. So they're gonna be at Night of Champions, right?
right?
That's gonna be the fun at Night of Champions. Are you not gonna have a Cody Rhodes or a Randy Orton on the show, or possible Jey Uso on the show?
Yeah, you can have them on the show, but why do they need to be in the King of the Ring tournament? That's my question.
What's believable then? So if you have, for example, Andrade, right? Let's say Andrade wins King of the Ring. If he goes up against John Cena, is that believable to you?
No, because Andrade is not really.
I mean, it'll be a great fucking match, but is Rusev or Sheamus versus Gunther believable to you as far as, Sheamus can beat Gunther for the world title?
I mean, it'd be believable in a sense where you have two guys that are going to beat the shit out of each other.
But is it believable to the point of, like, hey, it'll be believable, like, hey, I want to see this match. It's going to be a fucking awesome match, right? But would it be to the point, like, oh, man, Gunther could lose here?
Well,
if you have Sami Zayn versus Gunther again, because Sami Zayn has had Gunther's number, it'll be like,
right.
There's a possibility.
Well, also,
you know what I mean?
Well, also, wouldn't you agree with the fact that in order for talent to get over as main event talent, they have to work with other main event talent?
Yes, true.
Right.
But at this particular point in time, that's not what WWE is doing, and we know that.
Right, and it's just, again, I mean, I've said it more than once. I have a feeling I'm going to say it more. Is that WWE? They're all about, we're going to do what's making money, and that's fine. I get it, but as someone who's a fan, who will continue to be a fan, and who's been a fan even through the dark times, it's just like I want to see things that make sense, because now this just seems like bad Vince booking.
I wouldn't go that. No, not Vince booking. Vince booking is a whole nother level of bad. This is not good booking for sure. I will definitely agree with that. But Vince level is a little harsh.
I don't know. I just kind of hope.
Who would you have win King of the Ring? Out of the current field out of the field that started, who would you have win King of the Ring? I'll read the names for you in case if you don't remember.
No,
Braun Breaker,
right?
Dom Mysterio,
Okay.
Penta,
Okay.
Sami Zayn,
Mm-hmm.
Aleister Black, Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight, yeah, Randy Orton,
I got what you
Andrade,
did. Yeah.
Cody Rhodes,
Mm-hmm.
Damian Priest, Shinsuke Nakamura,
Mm-hmm.
Bronson Reed, Jey Uso, Rusev, Sheamus.
I mean, I'd give it to fucking Braun.
Braun Breaker versus. So you have Braun Breaker versus Gunther, right?
Fuck yeah.
So heel versus heel.
Well,
That's what we're looking at. Braun Breaker's in a heel. Is Braun Breaker in a heel group?
well, no. My thing is Gunther really Gunther kind of hates everybody, including heels.
No, Gunther's a heel.
Well, no. My whole thing is Gunther hates everybody equally, including heels.
That's true, but okay. But is Gunther supposed to be booed or cheered?
I mean, he gets cheered.
Is WWE
but
presenting him to be booed or cheered?
they're presenting to be booed, but he still gets cheered, kind of like Braun.
That's not the question I asked. I asked, is he presented to be booed or cheered? He's supposed to be booed.
Right.
That makes him a heel. So, a heel. I mean, I would love to see Braun Breaker go to the finals, but what sense would that make? What sense would that make with him going to the finals and Seth Rollins, try with Money in the Bank?
Well,
so was it like he'll just like incapacitate Gunther, or like are they already gonna tease breaking up the group? Like,
you kind of just said it. It for storyline purposes is that Seth is after Gunther, and Seth is lurking in the back because he wants to make sure Gunther is not 100%. So again, from the outside looking in, from what makes more sense, someone like Braun should be winning something like King of the Ring. Someone like
on the women's side, what about the women's side? Kairi Sane, Liv Morgan. Well, we'll take out Liv, but Rhea Ripley, Roxanne, Jade Cargill, Michin, Nia Jax, Piper Niven, Alba Fire, Alexa Bliss, Candice LeRae, Charlotte Flair, Asuka, Ivy Nile, Raquel Rodriguez, Stephanie Vaquer. There's a lot of new blood in there too as well, and women that haven't had any opportunity. So out of those names, who would you have win Queen of the Ring?
Roxanne. I mean,
and I can agree with that, and she may win Queen of the Ring.
I mean, if we're going,
she may go up against Io. That I can agree with.
If we're going by popularity, I would say Stephanie, but I would go with Roxanne in a heartbeat because, again, I don't know how you're going to feel about this statement, but I think the King of the Ring should go to a heel because just being called king is a little bit pompous. Like referring to yourself as a king kind of makes you sound like a jackass. Like that doesn't sound like something a face would do.
I get what you're saying, but you're not thinking about all you're thinking about is determining who should win the tournament. You're not thinking about like the next steps in advancement and how it will make sense and how would it come off on TV and how we're gonna justify one person being cheer and one person being boo of a heel versus heel aspect, right? Like for me in particular, I'm fine with this current Final Four. You want to know why I'm fine with this Final Four? Because their story. Their story between all four. Their story between Jay and Cody. They have history, obviously. Their story, there could be, like, if Cody wins and Randy wins, that's obviously story right there. If Jay wins and Randy wins, that's story right there. If Sammy wins and Jay wins, that's story right there. So I like this current Final Four because there's story developing and it's about the world championship, world title shot, right? On the women's side, there's story there too as well. I would not mind seeing Roxanne Perez win. I wouldn't mind that. She's my second pick to win. But who do I think is going to win? I think Jade Cargill is going to win. I think Jade is going to win. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to tell a story that Jade beats Tiffany Stratton perhaps at SummerSlam. And you know what happens with that?
Naomi.
You get a cash in from Naomi to screw Jade once again. And then you could probably tell a story with what side Bianca Belair actually sits on. I think that's a better story and a better coming out. Now, they could do something with Roxanne because Liv Morgan's going to be out for 6 months, and they got a story there as well. She wins, and she's now the queen of I was going to say Damage Control. That's definitely not the group. But of Judgment Day, right? And they can tell a story with that, with Roxanne versus Liv, and Liv possibly win the Royal Rumble. She get a big baby face run, going into WrestleMania. So there's another side of that as well. But I really just think that, although I agree with you in some aspects, like I am currently fine with the current field that's in King of the Ring. If you have Braun Breaker, let's say Braun Breaker versus Randy Orton, it'd be a great match, right? But let's say Braun Breaker ends up winning the Rumble, right? Or winning King of the Ring. Let's say he beats Cody Rhodes, that'll make him a huge star. But I think that'll make him more of a star than Seth Rollins in his own fucking group. And the point of the group is to make Seth Rollins a fucking star. So I don't know. I just think there's a lot of flaws with that.
Right. I mean, again, there's a lot of flaws going on, this whole product. But again, that's just how I feel. I think a lot of these, I think Money in the Bank, kind of like King of the Ring, that should be used to elevate somebody. Instead, I think everyone knew Seth was going to win, but it's like, why does Seth need to win? Like, Seth can just do it on his own. And yeah, storyline perspective, it makes sense because he's a heel and he can cash it in on. You can cash it on CM Punk and Cena. That's an idea that people haven't thought of, or people have been thinking of. And I know you and me picked Naomi, and yeah, Naomi has been doing a great job, with her heel run. But at the same time, it's like she's been women's champion before. So shouldn't this go to like a Roxanne or a Stephanie or maybe even Julia?
She hasn't been champion this run, and it's a completely new character. Like, I mean, I can go like, in fucking 1991, Undertaker, became the WWF champion, and like he made it in WrestleMania 13. I mean, was fans back then like, Undertaker should be champion, right? Well, probably so. They probably want Stone Cold, but regardless, though, right? Like he ended up becoming champion. Like it's okay to give Money in the Bank and King of the Rings to certain talents that need it, and I think Naomi needs it, and she deserves it. What's the rush with putting the Queen of the Ring on someone like a Roxanne Perez? She just got to the main roster. She's in her early 20s. What's the rush for Stephanie Vaquer to win? She's gonna be a fucking megastar in WWE. What's the rush? They're already over. Like, why are we rushing these? Like, you're once you rush them to the top, all they have to do is fall down. They have no build. They have no what's the one I'm looking for? No struggle. No push. That's why the Cody Rhodes story. That's why the Cody Rhodes story was fucking great. Because remember at WrestleMania 39, he lost, and I campaigned like, hey, maybe Cody should fucking lose here because he's had no struggle. And look at WrestleMania 40, one of the best WrestleManias of all time, and one of the best stories of all time, because there was build, there was struggle, there was story going into it, and The Rock as well, and that was the whole situation. But I digress.
Yeah, that bold fraud. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents about what's currently going on.
Well, that was a great conversation there, and I want to bring up a current situation. We probably won't be as animated on this one here, maybe so, but It's a good conversation here. I'm gonna bring up Britt Baker and Britt Baker's possible contract maybe ending, according to Jonathan Coachman. Jonathan Coachman said that Britt Baker's contract is up with AEW, and that she's already going to be signing with WWE. But as of today, or very early in the morning from Fightful Select, that Dr. Britt Baker is still under contract with AEW and has not left the company. Baker signed a 5-year deal in 2021 that would keep her under contract for over another year, not including possible injury time added. Drew, I'll ask you this question here. Where do you see Britt Baker in 2026?
In a dentist's office.
Not where you want her, because that's where you want her. Where do you actually see her in 2026?
I think she'll stay in AEW because that's where her bread is buttered. I don't see WWE taking her. That's just my opinion. I don't think WWE wants to deal with people that are just going to purposely cause problems in their locker room. And yes, CM Punk.
You really think she's going to go there and really just purposely start causing problems? Like, oh, I don't like you.
I don't even think it's going to be a thing of like Triple H or Shawn Michaels will tell or something. I think you're going to have people like Charlotte and Becky and a Bayley be like, listen, you want to be here to have fun or cause problems? Like it's got to be one. It's gonna be one, and it better be the.
But don't. When she signs that contract, don't she know? Does she like? I think she already would know that already, right?
And granted, you become
CM Punk caused problems in the locker room yet. We haven't heard people of bad shit from CM Punk yet, have we?
well, and I had a term for it. Like you become a product of your environment. If you're in a toxic environment, you're gonna act accordingly. So, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure you've had these experiences. Like, you ever been in a job that was just so piss poor and bad management, bad coworkers, that it just changed your attitude and brought out the worst version of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we've all been there. I've been there. And yeah, I mean, obviously I don't know Britt Baker. I'm not going to say I hate her and I wish she, would fall into a ditch or something. I'm just saying, like, I just personally don't see her in WWE, but, it's wrestling. Anything can happen. For all we know, she might show up at the Rumble. She might show up at, TakeOver, next year in Vegas. So I truly cannot really give you an answer other than, wait and see.
I'll just ask one last question. Do you think that if she does come to WWE, that she will be a benefit to WWE and that she can help make the company money? I'm not saying be like a top draw or anything like that, because I mean, you got Rhea Ripley, and then you got Stephanie McCare, you got Becky Lynch. Like, the women's roster is strong. Like, at this point, I wouldn't mind a women's show, a 1 hour women's show that they can do. Like, because they have so much fucking women. But, like, do you see Britt Baker being some type of positive influence and to making money with WWE?
I think if she's in a professionally run wrestling company, I think her attitude might change. And it might even humble her a little bit, to where she's like, okay, now I know I gotta, mind my P's and Q's. So, right. as far as making money, I can't really say yes or no.
That's fair.
I mean, Britt Baker, I will say she's a good talker. She's always been a pretty good talker, decent in the ring. I think anybody can be a good commodity for WWE as long as they are willing to put in the effort and, like I mentioned, not cause any problems and just show up to work and do your job and, get paid. So,
yeah.
But the most important thing is, show up to work and do your job. Don't just, half-ass it. So, yeah.
On top of that, too, as well, I don't remember the last time I've heard issues coming out of AEW. As far as like 2 years ago, we were hearing backstage shit a couple times a month, like attitude, whatever. At least in a while, I haven't heard anything about that in a while. So I mean, I know they have that stigma, but like, I think credit where credit is due. I mean, at least it has been coming out over the last probably year, close to a year, I want to say. You know what I mean? So give AEW credit where credit's due. So
I mean the only things you hear are just on Twitter with Ricochet doing this whole "I'm a heel." It's like, no, you're a douchebag.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about like that's like the online Twitter bullshit. But like, I'm talking about like, oh, so and so backstage problems. Like, remember there was the issue with Andrade and
Sammy.
Who was it? Was Sammy Guevara?
Yeah, it was Sammy, which again, Sammy, that's another guy who always just seemed to have a problem with everybody. Like, it was him, or it was Andrade, it was Eddie Kingston. What is it? Like, he fucking concussed Matt Hardy live on a pay-per-view. It's like, yeah, like, there was a point where, like, every week it was like, hey, did you hear what happened to
AEW? You're saying that like he meant to do it, like.
I mean, again, do
you think like fuck this? I'm about to concuss Matt Hardy. Like,
I think that he was very careless, and granted, I haven't seen his work.
All right, I think that's better.
There was a point where he was just really careless.
Do it,
Right, but it's just like he was always starting problems. But you know what? I'm happy that I'm not hearing any problems, because regardless of how I feel about AEW, I want AEW to succeed. I want there to be a strong number 2. I want there to be another place where the wrestlers can go get paid and work. I still don't have faith in their leadership. I think
Right.
I don't think they need to. I don't think they need to go out of business. I think they need to sell to somebody who knows what to do with it. That's just my opinion.
Again, Tony Khan is not going to do that. The Khan family's not going to do that, because if they do that, it won't be AEW no more.
Well,
I mean, yeah, just it's no. If Tony Khan sells a company or something like that, it's probably going to be WWE, and that's going to be the end of AEW. That's
I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm saying sell to somebody else outside of WWE.
But what I'm saying is that that's the only way I see Tony Khan giving up any type of control of AEW. Is if it's a sell to WWE, and WWE just owns like the video library.
I mean,
that's literally the only thing I see.
I mean, Punk said it best. You know, that company is still gonna be in business as long as Tony wants to put money in it.
There you go.
So,
and they put still putting money into it. I mean, they were in Mexico tonight for Grand Slam Mexico, and it did look very good on TV. They were in Arena Mexico. I like the Arena Mexico arena for CMLL. Didn't really care about the show, but it was just a. I mean, we had Worlds Collide. It was just a super show. This is a super show as well. So I would be contradictory where I'd be like, oh well, this had no story. Well, Worlds Collide had no story either. Outside of maybe Vikingo and Gable, they kind of had a little bit of a story going into it. But outside of that, like, none of those other matches had a story. But it was a really good show. So, but if you enjoyed Grand Slam night, fantastic. I'd love to hear it. But we're not going to talk about Grand Slam right now. We're going to be talking about SmackDown. And SmackDown last Friday drew a 1.4 million and a 0.38 in the demo, and those numbers are getting lower. And did hear something about SmackDown today, actually, and it's been confirmed that WWE SmackDown will return to 2 hours as of July 4th. That's coming from PW Insider, but I don't. This is me personally. This is me doing a little bit of research. I personally don't think that SmackDown is going to be 2 hours officially as of July 4th. I think that it's going to be as of August 15th, because Variety announces a new show that's going to come to the USA Network called The Rainmaker, and it's not Kazuchika Okada. That's going to be in the 10 p.m. Eastern time slot. So SmackDown should be going to 2 hours. Unless they start the show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be another way to get 3 hours in there, but I seriously doubt that. But quickly, and I pretty much think I know how you feel about this, but how you feel about SmackDown on the verge of going back to 2 hours?
I mean, I think they should start at 5 p.m. Central Time and do 4 hours. No plan. I'm A-okay with this, like SmackDown. Like I know I was kind of on the side of 3 hours is good, and yeah, there have been good things that have happened with this 3 hour format. The tag team division has gotten more legs to it. But other than that, just like SmackDown, it's kind of soulless ever since they've had this 3 hour brand or 3 hour stretch. They don't really seem to have an identity. Raw has the luxury of being on streaming, so they can end usually at 2.5 hours. If they really wanted to, they can probably end at 2 hours.
Right.
But they're 3 hours, and most of the time they don't go 3 hours. SmackDown's on basic cable, or just cable, however you want to put it. So they kind of have to go accordingly to sponsors and commercials.
Absolutely.
And however long, the network says, okay, ended right here. So network is a lot different than streaming. I mean, to be honest, pretty soon SmackDown and NXT are going to be on streaming. They're going to be on Netflix, or they're going to be on, well, more than likely Netflix whenever, however this deal pans out for Raw. But I'm totally fine with it. I think it makes more sense, kind of how you just said, with the new show on USA Network coming up. I think that makes more sense.
Rainmaker.
Rainmaker, which I think that was a movie with with whatchamacallit, Matt Damon and Danny DeVito. Pretty good movie. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because it needs to happen. There's too much wrestling going on, and once you get to that third hour of SmackDown, oh boy, it's
like death's door.
Yeah, that's like you said, death's door. So, looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Well, also before SmackDown, Hikuleo finally made his WWE debut on Main Event. He did not come out and try to help Solo Sikoa or anything like that. He debuted on Main Event
next week.
I'm gonna make a quick comment real quick, and I don't know if I hope I'm wrong, because Hikuleo, he has a hell of a look. He can go in the ring, and he's a very you like your big guys, and this guy's he can step over the top rope. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't like this just because of the fact that it could be a situation where they debut this guy on Main Event, and it could be a situation where I won't say let him go, but they could push him down to NXT. I think this is more of a trial one to see like how he's getting a reaction, which I don't expect any reaction because he's from New Japan, and the WWE fans, most of them don't watch New Japan. They don't know anything about New Japan. They may be familiar. Oh, I've heard this name before, but they don't know what he can do in the ring, right?
Right.
I just don't have a good feeling with him debuting Main Event. For everybody else, Jacob Fatu, the Tongans, Jeff Cobb, JC Mateo, they all debuted on a show of some purpose. Why is Hikuleo being debuted on Main Event? So, but what are your thoughts about Hikuleo debuting on a Main Event?
Well, it's about damn time because he's been signed up for like what, a year.
Yeah.
I don't really have any problems with him coming on Main Event because I think you kind of just said it perfectly. Maybe they just want to see how he works on the main roster as opposed to just like shoving him down to NXT. I don't want to say shoving him down to NXT, but like putting him down to NXT. And he's Samoan. He's automatically going to have a gold ticket to the main roster. He's more than likely going to show up Friday in the the thing with Jacob Fatu and Solo.
I mean, I hope you're right.
That's the way it kind of looks. Is Lance on Hawaii? Is he still signed?
I don't know if he is signed, but I know that there's been major interest. But we'll see.
Let me ask you something. When do you, if they ever bring in Zilla, what do they do with him?
NXT.
Okay, that makes sense.
He's green. He's very fucking good, but he's green. Like, he needs. I think they want to try to make him. I think it will be remit. I think that with Zilla, I think they will be doing him a disservice, putting him on the main roster immediately.
Okay, no, I agree with you. I think for someone like him who's gotten a lot of experience, through Booker T's school and also the Indies,
he's only 25. So
yeah, he's gonna need that NXT experience. So. He's a surefire WWE candidate. Like he's going to be here probably sooner rather than later. But I'm asking that because somebody in the chat asked it. It was well, it wasn't a question. It was Weems. I hope I'm saying that right. He says I think Zilla will go through development. Yeah, I'm sorry, but
yeah. All right, so before we go to SmackDown, leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you're watching this here on YouTube, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Experience, DY Experience on YouTube, and let us know what your thoughts about what you've been hearing so far. Britt Baker, the Tournaments, Jey Uso, Hikuleo. So we'll love to hear your thoughts about that, and we'll check it out. But SmackDown from Friday, and we're going to go over it here. I want to ask you, Drew, what, with SmackDown, we'll talk about it here right now. What was your biggest takeaway from the show?
I mean, the highlight of it was CM Punk and John Cena, where
They opened the show.
where your prediction kind of came true, where John Cena called out CM Punk's hypocrisy for not wanting to go to Saudi Arabia, and he's like, I'll give you a title match, but you got to come to Saudi Arabia,
Right.
and he called out his hypocrisy. So I like that promo between the two. Like Cena was really all over the place for the whole night, because I think he had like two different promos.
He had a lot. He had like 3 segments.
Right, and it's it's John Cena, so you want to get what you can out of him, before December. But I thought him and Punk had a really good back and forth. It really did make this match feel special at Saudi Arabia, and it's a match that obviously Punk's not going to win. I mean, I kind of hope this was more of a SummerSlam match rather than a Saudi Arabia match, but that's just me. I get the feeling that Rollins might cash in during this match.
I don't know.
I don't know, because him going after the world title seems too predictable. Like, I don't really like. I get. You said the idea of like Seth, Sammy can chase Seth at Mania, which I mean that'll be a good match, but like I don't really see Sammy's beef. Well, actually, I take that back. They do kind of have a beef where Sammy's telling Seth, you say you want to get rid of Roman, but you've become Roman.
Right.
But I think Seth still has, a boner for CM Punk, and he's gonna want to screw him over, whenever he gets a chance. So, and they still want to, milk that, that cow dry of that feud.
Right.
So, I don't know. It'd be interesting because I don't like the idea of Gunther getting the title back only to drop it like in a month and a half back to Seth.
Right.
So, but he's got his own problems. But we'll get to that with the Raw review. But that's kind of my 2 cents.
So you mentioned about Cena kind of trolling Punk in a way, not going to Saudi. I want to bring up a question. Don't want to get into politics or anything. Just a question: should WWE go to Saudi with the current landscape that side of the world is going through right now? Should they consider not going to Saudi? Do you think that they have conversations about this as of yet?
I'm pretty sure they do, but Saudi is what makes them money. And I'm also pretty sure that they go to a more secure location to where it's, a little bit more safe. But again, with the way with what's going on in the world right now, especially with, what's going on with, my people, in Iran.
Right.
It's just I think WWE should really play it safe, with doing a lot of these international shows, near the at the Middle East. So, but again, this isn't a political show. This is just me.
Right. It's just generalities, but I think that. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've spoken, but I think that they should probably possibly reconsider just because of of the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what the hell's going to happen next week. So, just my opinion. I may be wrong about that, but you never know.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, SmackDown started off with John Cena making his way down to the ring, cutting a promo, and he stated that he claimed that the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling is Cena, because I spit hot fire. So, yeah. Cody Rhodes came out to interrupt Cena and said Cena was right about everything he said, but he also reminded Cena that he pinned him at Money in the Bank. You had Randy Orton coming out. Randy came out there into the ring and said he was determined to get another shot by winning King of the Ring. Then LA Knight came out there, and LA Knight came out to voice his opinion, which led Cena leaving without saying another word. As John Cena was walking up the aisle, R-Truth, Ron Killings attacked him and beat him down. Cena's heel turn so far, to me, isn't really making history, making WWE that was hoping for. but I think he did a good job of making himself sound like a tactician by listing off everything he's done in the recent months. And I really think I honestly thought that was a good scene of promo as well. So, but the opening segment thoughts.
No, it was a good promo. It definitely set the pace, for the show, which a lot of the pace for the show was mainly just Cena and Ron Killings and CM Punk. I like the fact that, Cody is very much like, I still got my eyes on you. I still want my title back. I like Cena when he does more stuff like this as a heel instead of just falling into that pattern of using his robotic, Toyota Tundra, car commercial voice. You know what I mean? So when he has a little bit more inflection in his voice, it works. When he actually acts like a heel, it works instead of just doing the whole "you're all dumb and I think you smell," shit. But I like this promo. It's kind of weird that from what we were told, R-Truth was going to be Ron Killings, but they're still calling him R-Truth, but they're calling him Ron Killings, Ron Killings, at the same time. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm liking it. I like the fact that Ron is like, I haven't forgot about you, John.
Yep, he has a reason to go after him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Moving on, that ended up becoming one of the first King of the Ring matches. You had LA Knight, Randy Orton, Carmelo Hayes, and Aleister Black. Randy Orton hits the RKO for the win. He actually pinned LA Knight, and he's advancing into the King of the Ring tournament there. So, I thought it was a very good match. I mean, you have 4 great talents there in the match. I thought it was a good opener to SmackDown as far as a wrestling match is concerned.
Yeah, same. I mean, I kind of figured where it was going to go. I kind of figured that LA Knight was going to get fucked over by Seth's group. We just had this, talk last week about LA Knight, where I don't think he's buried. I don't really think anyone's buried. I think if LA Knight lost to Tozawa, we could probably say he's buried or whatever. But LA Knight gets featured every week on television. He's usually in big, segments on television.
So does Karrion Kross.
That's
throwing it out there.
That's one of those things of like, okay, he's in a feud with Sammy, and Sammy is, for lack of a better term, he's seen as a main event guy. And I like Sammy. And I like Kross too. It's just with Kross, I'm liking the segments. It's kind of funny and weird at the same time, where he just appears out of nowhere and goes, "I knew you were a bad guy the whole time, Sammy. You just need a little push." Like, I just think that's funny as shit. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, to be honest. But, and I also liked how and I know I'm kind of jumping forward to Raw, but like, I thought it was kind of funny how Sammy's like, "Hey, at least I'm out there wrestling. What the hell you been doing back here? Nothing."
Right.
He's been doing a lot of chirping, so I like the fact that they're gonna get Kross in the ring finally. But where was I at? Oh yeah, LA Knight. LA Knight, he's featured prominently on the show, so a lot of these people that say LA Knight kind of gets negated or he gets shit on. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're on television every week and you're in like big, matches and match segments, it's kind of hard to say you're buried or shit on. But who else was in the match? Randy. You kind of figured Randy was going to win because it's Randy. Mello. I think
he does have good matches.
Mello has good matches. I'm just going to say this. This is the nicest thing I'm going to say about Mello. And I like Mello. I'm not trying to say I hate Mello, but like, I think Mello is going to be where he's going to be. And until Trick Williams comes to the main roster. Aleister.
Hey, he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal though.
Yeah, he certainly did. Aleister Black is kind of in a weird spot where he's having good matches. It's just like, what do you do with him? Like, it almost seems like WWE's soul.
They haven't made a story for him yet.
Right, like WWE just brought him in as like, hey, remember this guy? It's like, oh, kinda. So yeah, like you just said, they haven't really given him anything that feels like it's his, as far as like a story goes. But
Right.
I mean, I think he's kind of getting a little bit of heat back with the crowd so far. I mean, he has a cool look, he has a cool entrance, but he needs something. And with the draft coming
Do you
up,
think that it was a possible mistake? And I don't know if this is a AEW thing, they can't do this, whatever. But do you think it's a possible mistake that he didn't really come back as like the House of Black type of character? With the makeup on the face, more of the makeup on the face, and coming in with the antlers and all that.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was kind of thinking he can come in as almost like a gothic, Norwegian Bray Wyatt in a sense, where he's like this new monster kind of character that takes out all the faces. Because I was thinking he was going to come out and attack Cody on his first night back, and that was the SmackDown after Mania, but I wasn't expecting Cody to be out for a month.
Right.
And that could have given Cody something to do, where Cody could have been like, oh, gee whiz, guys, I didn't win, and blah, blah, blah. But, God help me, I'll get back on that horse and, bowl up. And that's when, Black comes out and just, beats the air living piss out of him and embarrasses him. And that's when Cody kind of has to get back on that horse and, like, re-earn that, main event, status. Like, he has to be humbled. Because,
Right.
I love Cody, but there was a point where Cody was maybe they were kind of pushing him almost like Super Cena in the 2010s. And, if they weren't too careful, the crowd would have really turned on him. And they kind of were at Mania, granted it was Vegas. But I think a feud with Black could have really done him wonders, because it could have humbled him and really brought him back down to square one.
Yeah.
And also maybe bring out a more vicious side of him that he's been missing for a while. And also it looks like he's kind of going that way, because he's telling John, John Cena, that next time I won't hesitate. Like, I'm not just gonna be, aw shucks, Cody Rhodes. I'm gonna take your head off if I have to.
Right.
Chris Winland in the YouTube chat says all our former champions, aside from Sami Zayn, if he doesn't win King of the Ring, then it is a moot storyline. Interesting take. But thank you.
Yeah, very interesting take.
Thank you, Chris Winland. Welcome to the YouTube show.
Yeah, and appreciate you chatting here with us, and we definitely appreciate it. Weems in the Discord here on the Mellow Point of Mellow said Mellow got the Christian treatment right now, and I think him and Shinsuke could be good. Honestly, I like their gimmicks. WWE just needs to learn to step outside the arena. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that too as well, and. Thank you for the participation, and keep on chatting, and we'll read some of your chats throughout the show. Moving on here, we had the second Queen of the Ring tournament match. It was Jade Cargill versus Piper Niven versus Nia Jax versus Michin. Cargill wins with a Jaded to Piper Niven. Very impressive there to get the 1-2-3 pin fall. So, so Jay picks up the win. But prior to that, though, I forgot about this. Prior to that, you had Jacob Fatu that came out. Jacob Fatu came out and talked about why he turned on Solo at Money in the Bank. Sikoa eventually appeared on the screen and said Fatu made a mistake at Money in the Bank, but he can forgive him if he says I love you Solo next week. So that promo there with the Jacob Fatu, and you kind of alluded maybe that could be the debut of Hikuleo. Do you think Hikuleo debuts next week to attack Jacob Fatu and joins the new bloodline?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Solo said, next week let's talk, and I'll welcome you back with open arms.
It's a possibility.
And then what did he say after that? He said, I brought you into this world and I can take you out.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of brought up his past, where he's like, "When I found you, you were nothing, and then I made you into a star." So, yeah, Jacob Fatu's over. Like, there's really no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He's over like Rover. Solo, I'll say, character-wise and promo-wise, he's much better than he used to be. I mean, he has like good comedic facials, like whenever he's talking shit.
Yeah.
So I do like the fact that they're still keeping him fresh and finding more Samoans to put in the fucking group.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hikuleo I think could be an interesting choice. I've only seen Hikuleo once, and now I think that was when he was in AEW for like a hot minute. I mean, he has an interesting look. He's like really fucking tall, but he's not like.
I mean, he was in the Bullet Club. He was in the Bullet Club with the Tongans. You know what I mean? So he's been over there in New Japan for years, and he became like a de facto leader for a small second too as well. Part of the Bullet Club. Him and Logan Paul were tag team champions for a minute. So.
But yeah,
Phantasmo. He looks like fucking Logan Paul. So.
Well, but he does have an interesting look to him because he's not like lanky tall. He's like tall but with muscle, to where it looks like
maybe like 5 years ago he was more considered lanky, but yeah, I get your point for sure.
So, but looking forward to it. It's funny that report from last year was WWE was worried about Jacob Fatu taking away Solo's shine. It's like, well, he's right.
Right. So that was that segment. What were your thoughts about Jade Cargill winning and pinning Piper Niven with Jaded?
It was a match. But
okay. I thought it was fine. That was fine match. It wasn't bad or anything like that. I thought it was fine for what it was. All right. Well, moving on here. We got the Motor City Machine Guns versus the White Six. We have the White Six defeating the Motor City Machine Guns here in this match here. Quick thoughts about it. I think Dexter Lumis is an underrated performer in the ring, and it was nice for him to get some nice chances in there. So, but
I do agree. I think you look at this White Six thing, and it's been kind of, in my opinion, it hasn't really panned out the way people thought it was going to pan out. Granted, it still gets a reaction, but it also helps that they have Bray's old theme. I don't know. I look at that group, and I think Dexter Lumis is the only guy I want to see really have anything out of that group because, again, Bo seems like a sweetheart of a guy, but, not a mean thing to say, but he's clearly not Bray. But then again, I don't think anyone could have been Bray. But yeah, just this group has just been kind of. The first run wasn't that great. Hopefully, the second run on SmackDown could be a little better.
Well, it looks like they're focused for the tag team division, so it looks like they have a sense of purpose at least.
Good. Like again, I don't root for anything or anyone to fail. I hope it works. Like you said, it looks like they have something because when they first came in, there really wasn't a purpose. It was just like, hey, this is a thing. Okay, what's going to happen? And like they just beat up, Chad Gable's group, and they just went away. Now they have a sense of purpose because they're going after the tag titles, which is like, okay, good, cool. Let's see how this works out.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on here, we got another segment with John Cena. Cena came storming out to the ring after the break to call R-Truth. He said Truth crossed the line and disrespected him, so he called him out for a fight. Instead of getting Ron Killings, CM Punk comes out. Punk tried to tell Cena that he needs to stop what he is doing and give the crowd a happy ending to his run. Punk said they were starting to sound like each other because Punk is making childish insults, and Cena is starting to leave with the belt. As Punk was leaving, R-Truth again attacked John Cena from behind. He locked Cena in the STF, while Punk said, "The truth hurts," to mock John Cena. Took several security guards to pull Truth off of Cena. I thought the England segment was entertaining. Itself, I thought it was a good segment to get across. Now, next week we do get John Cena versus R-Truth. Early prediction, I think R-Truth is going to win with the help of CM Punk.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, quick thoughts about the segment before we move on.
No, I think I mentioned it earlier. I love the segment. I think CM Punk and John Cena are, it's going to go down as one of the top 5 best feuds in WWE history.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
It's Punk.
If it's in your top 5, I won't complain about that. If it's in your top 3, I won't complain about that.
It's Punk's best feud and it's Cena's best feud, and I think what makes it work is that you can tell that there's a little bit of dissension between the two still. Not as much as say 10, 15 years ago, but you can tell. I think what's always made it work is that you can kind of tell that Punk was jealous of Cena's success, and vice versa with Cena. That's what made it work so good. That Money in the Bank 2011. My birthday, my 22nd birthday. I remember watching that on my my little rinky-dink laptop, and just being in awe of it. That's a match I can go back and never get bored, and never not enjoy about it. There's even things I can maybe find about it that I didn't see the first time. It's in my top 10 of the greatest matches of all time to me. I don't know where it goes, but it's in my top 10.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, moving on here, we got our second Queen of the Ring Fatal 4-Way match here. Where Alexa Bliss ended up defeating Charlotte Flair, Alba Fire, who replaced Chelsea Green and Candice LeRae. And I thought this was a pretty good match. I thought this was better of the 2 women's matches. And Alexa Bliss got the win by tapping out Alba Fire in this match here. What are your quick thoughts about this match here?
Chelsea Green should have won. Chelsea
Green? She wasn't in the match.
I thought she was. Oh, I'm thinking about Money in the Bank. Never mind. Again, these pay-per-views kind of collided with each other. Again, kind of going back to what I said earlier about, why does Alexa need to win it? Why does Alexa need to be in it? She's been a world champion. Same thing with Charlotte. But, I don't know. Again, those...
I mean, out of those 4 women... you want to see Candice LeRae go to the second round?
No.
You want to see Alba Fire go to the second round? I think they're both good wrestlers, but they're not in a position right now where they're believable.
Well, it was actually supposed to be Chelsea, but Chelsea was like, "Oh, I'm on vacation, so fuck all you." Blah.
But I think she's still with the broken nose, right?
Right. No? Yeah. Going back to Alexa, those Lily dolls make them money, so it's just okay.
She makes me money. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I bet she does. No, I'm talking about your shop. That's what I meant. I didn't mean any nefarious means, but yeah. She's gonna face Asuka this Friday, and Asuka's gonna have to have a competitive match with her. So we'll see how that goes.
Right. Well, Truth asked Nick Aldis backstage for a CM match next week, and Aldis agreed to it. So we already mentioned that. Well, we mentioned that the match is happening next week, but we didn't mention how it happened. And looks like here we have, I believe it's the main event here, but yeah, the main event of SmackDown was Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Andrade. The last King of the Ring qualifying match here, a fatal 4-way. Rhodes wins. He defeats Andrade, Nakamura, and Damian Priest. he hits Nakamura. Cody does with crossroads for the pin and the win here. Obviously, Cody was going to win here. I don't think it was any question here, but Cody Rhodes gained the win here to end SmackDown. And again, I thought SmackDown was a very good, very focused show. You had the King and Queen of the Ring matches for one. That's number one, but also number two as well. There was built for next week's show with Cena and R-Truth. And number three, CM Punk was on the show. So CM Punk was on the show. They always makes the show a little bit better there. So, what were your final thoughts of SmackDown?
I mean, I thought it was better than Raw this week. That's for sure. There was better stuff on it, and there was actually a purpose, and it didn't seem as dry as usual. So.
Cool. Well, that was SmackDown, guys. Leave your comments down below about SmackDown. Give a rating out of 10. We'll read your chats here a little bit later on if you're in the Discord. If you're in the Discord, leave your ratings out of 10 for SmackDown, and we'll read it here before we leave the air here.
We actually have questions. People did actually put in some questions in the questions channel if there's time.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get to that tonight, but we'll try to remember that for the next show. So,
all right.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah. So we're moving on to Monday Night Raw. So Joel, I'll go ahead and ask you here. What was your biggest takeaway from Monday Night Raw from this past Monday?
Oldberg showing up and demanding a title shot, which. Bubba Ray Dudley, it's getting bad that I'm agreeing with Bubba Ray Dudley.
It's getting bad that you're agreeing with Bubba Ray Dudley.
It's a personal issue I'd rather not get into. I'll tell you off air. But
what happened? Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna ask. What?
Long story short,
what did he do? What did he do to you?
Long story short, it's not what he did to me. It's what he did to a friend of mine. He was. I don't know if you know who B. Show Brian is. He does the show with John Draper, and he was shit talking B. Show, and then he started shit talking Draper, which without getting too much into Draper's personal life, he started revealing, I guess, secrets about Draper's health that I didn't even know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay,
that I'm just like, really, dude, that's fucking childish. And he blocked me over it. So
okay, well, I'm saying
fuck him.
Well,
but
I mean, personally, I get it. I get it, but again, I separate from wrestling, talking about wrestling, agreeing with somebody on that versus the actual fucking person. I may fucking hate you, I may dislike you, but god damn it, you're right about this damn wrestling opinion, and I agree with you.
No,
to your point, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if JD says something I agree with, I'll say JD was right. If somebody else that I'm not nuts about says something that I agree with, or vice versa, if somebody that I like says something that I think is stupid, I'm going to say it's stupid. Yeah. But in this case, Bubba Ray said something that made sense, which was the logic behind Goldberg coming in and being like, hey, I want a title match because you're next. Like that, right. that doesn't make any sense. And yeah, he had the squabble up in Atlanta. Was it Bad Blood? Where it's like,
yeah,
okay, they're going to want to mess with that. But again, Gunther was talking and he did bring up Goldberg, but he was like, he didn't do the heel thing of like, and nobody's gonna take this title from me, for I am right. Gunther, and like, nothing like that. It was more just being like him saying, I'm the world champion, I'm the best, blah blah blah. Goldberg just comes out and says, you're next at Saturday Night's Main Event. Like, that's literally the fucking segment. And yeah, it's Goldberg's last match in Atlanta because he'd been bitching for years about not getting his retirement match, and even saying like stuff like I put Roman Reigns over in Saudi Arabia, you're welcome.
Right.
It's like, well, Bill, you're supposed to put people over. That's the whole fucking point of the job. Kind of like how you didn't put fucking Bray over when you should have, but whatever.
I mean, Goldberg's matches, every time he comes back, he always has to have like some type of title match. Kevin Owens, Brock Lesnar, you mentioned Bray Wyatt. Now you got against Gunther. It's like, So, anyway,
I mean, it doesn't need to be for a title. I mean, if anything, he should be wrestling someone like a Braun to elevate him.
So I'll put it to you this way. So I'll ask you this question, and I legitimately don't know what your answer will be. So we knew more or less that Gunther was gonna be Goldberg's last match, right? For the most part, right?
Right.
And you say you'd rather have this not be for the title,
right?
Which I agree with. But would you rather have it be for the title and Gunther being champion, during the time frame, or would you rather have Jey Uso still being the champion currently?
Okay.
And having Goldberg and Gunther being a non-title match.
I knew this was going to happen, but let me answer your question with a question. What does it do for Gunther to beat Goldberg?
Does nothing. But the question I'm asking you is, because it's one or the other. Would you rather have Jey Uso still be champion and have this be a non-title match with Gunther and Goldberg, or would you just bite the fucking bullet and just be like, okay, well,
I'd rather see Gunther have a match with Giant Kurgan. Like, I don't want
to. Not the question I asked, but I don't expect you to answer it at this point. But
it's a lose-lose situation, because if Gunther wins, it's not going to mean anything. If he loses, it's going to just be fucking like AIDS all over again.
He's not going to lose.
No, he's not. But it's just like, again, it's one of those things of like, in reality, it kind of makes Gunther look like an asshole. It's like you beat up a 58-year-old man that can only fight for 3 minutes. So
and on top of that too, as well, Goldberg came down to the ring limping, and he didn't look good. I don't want to see. I mean, spear, right, whatever. But I don't want to see him try to do a jackhammer on Gunther.
No, I have zero interest in this match. I just, if the match needs to end with Gunther just choking his bald ass out, I'm fine. But again, I'd rather see Goldberg give somebody the rub that actually needs it more, because Gunther doesn't really need a rub anymore. Like, he's fine. He's kind of a made man at this point. Like, I'd rather see Braun get that rub.
I knew you were gonna say Braun Breaker. Yeah,
yeah, because like he does a spear, Goldberg does a spear. They have a history together, and they're all friends.
Spear, yeah,
Spear,
just kind of like with Edge in fucking WrestleMania 26. Spear. That was the whole fucking build up there.
Or I don't know.
With Weems in the chat, I'll read his chat here in the Discord chat here, and you guys could join the Discord here in the Wrestling Soup. So if you guys are listening, join the Wrestling Soup Discord. We're under the experience. He says, I thought Jay should have held on to it, and Gunther get another squash match after being pat. I mean, maybe it could have been Jay versus Gunther at SummerSlam. And then that's where Gunther captures the title.
Yeah, well, Goldberg won his retirement match. I'm pretty sure Goldberg didn't want to wrestle Jey Uso. It would have been two guys that can't wrestle. But
who said it would have to been Jey Uso?
I'm saying, Goldberg, you can tell he kind of picks his opponents. Yeah, because you remember,
right? But no, it was always gonna be Goldberg versus Gunther. I would have preferred just to be and you agree too, for it to be just a regular non-title match,
right?
And I think the way that they could have done it, we could have still got the same result. Jay could have been champion up until SummerSlam. It could have been Jay versus Gunther again, and Gunther wins the title at SummerSlam.
Right. I mean, that probably would have made more sense. But I think Goldberg has somewhat of a political pull, and from what I heard, this is a Triple H idea of, we want to get the belt back on Gunther because.
But again, he wants to do, and I see why he wants to do it in Atlanta, whatever. But okay, all right. Well, so that's the main takeaway, at least according to Drew, for Monday Night Raw, and we're going to be talking about Raw here right now. And I start off with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio coming out to the ring. We saw a quick replay of Morgan taking out Nikki Bella from last week. Morgan talked a lot of trash about Bella and bragged about her accomplishments. It was just a standard promo here, but she called out Io Sky because she wants a rematch for the Women's Championship. I don't know where this was going here, just because of it was supposed to be Io, or I'm sorry, it's supposed to be Liv being focused on Nikki Bella, and maybe there was supposed to be Brie Bella, and it was supposed to be the Bellas versus, Liv Morgan and Raquel at Evolution, but we're not going to get that now. We'll talk about that in a second here about Liv Morgan's injury. But, predictably, this promo turned to a fight. And it was Sky sending both Morgan and Dominic outside the ring, and it was clear that at that time that Morgan was being positioned as the next challenger. Were they setting us up for possibly Saudi? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. What did you think about this opening promo?
I wasn't nuts about it. I love Liv. I think Liv is, her and Dom, I think, are, for lack of a better term, they might be the best characters on Raw right now.
Character work, yeah, for sure, yeah.
I didn't really like this promo because I thought it was kind of weird, and it kind of made Liv sound stupid, where she was like, "Just hand me the belt. Come on, hand me the belt." I never, little nitpicky things. I never like when heels do that, where they expect people to do something for them that that is not actually going to happen. So I just thought that kind of made her sound stupid. And then,
yeah, sure.
Io throws the belt at her and kicks her in the face and kicks Dom in the face and, blah, blah, blah. So, I wasn't nuts about it, personally. Io, I don't want to say surprised, because she's fucking great. She's done a great job at keeping herself relevant and keeping herself over with the fans, even though, and again, not trying to sound insensitive, her promos aren't always that great, because of the English barrier, but she does a great job because the fans are gonna love her no matter what she says.
When you have charisma in wrestling, it doesn't matter if you can have fluent articulation in English. If you're like Penta speaks English very well, but yeah, there's a language barrier there at times. People fucking love Penta, so. But moving on here, we have our first Queen of the Ring Fatal 4-Way here, and you have Ivy Now versus Stephanie Vaquer, Raquel Rodriguez, and Asuka. Asuka picks up the win here. We kind of talked about this here earlier, kind of with the matches here, but I thought it was, despite whoever feels about the winner, I thought it was a good match, and Asuka coming back, to me, it would be stupid for her to lose her returning match, and they made a big deal with her coming back, especially with the promotional videos, and she came back with her original NXT theme as well, so that's very good. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, because we already touched on that earlier.
Yeah, I said what I said earlier.
Cool. So after a quick backstage with the Judgment Day that continued to build tension in the group, Gunther came out to the ring, and this is the Bill Goldberg segment, so we're not going to really cover this already here, but I'll just go over this here very, very quickly here, and we can move on here. But to give context to everything here, the ring general said Uso was a better man at WrestleMania 41, but every other night, the Gunther's untouchable. This led into what's next for the champ, but it seemed like the fans knew before he did. Crowd started chanting Goldberg's name before he came out to confront the champion. Actually, Goldberg came out. He congratulated Gunther before telling him that he'll be challenging him for the world title at Saturday night's main event on July 12th. This wasn't especially surprising, given the rumors on how it been flying around for months. Goldberg versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday Night's Main Event on July 12th in Atlanta, Georgia. Goldberg's last match. JD McDonough versus AJ Styles in a singles match here. Styles defeats McDonough here in the match here. I thought it was a very, very fucking
This is the workhorse match.
Yeah, a very fucking good match. JD McDonough's fucking. I loved him ever since the very first NXT United Kingdom tournament. When people was like, "Oh, he looks like Finn Balor. Is he Finn Balor's brother?" Jordan Devlin. You know what I mean? So, he was doing some great work there, and he's just getting better and better. So, I thought this was a very good match. I thought this was very fucking good actually, and it seems like AJ Styles may be the next challenger for Dom in the United States Championship. He hits after the match. He hits down with a phenomenal forearm, and he poses with the Intercontinental Championship. So, and also as well, he went back to his old theme too as well, obviously. So that's good. They don't want none. You know what I mean? So
they don't.
But thoughts about this match? Tell us about the aftermath.
I think JD, to me, he's someone I've done a 180 on. Ever since he came back from that injury, like he's wrestled with more fire, and I like it. So I'm liking anything JD does. Anytime he has a match. I like anything with the Judgment Day because they're one of the best parts of the show. And I'm biased because I love AJ. I love anything AJ does. I get a little worried when AJ's put in a big spotlight because it seems like they give him a lot of these start and stop pushes, and then lately he's been getting a lot of injuries, and Father Time is undefeated. It also helps that AJ is jacked, like he's fucking jacked, for his age.
Right.
I would love if AJ can get one last title run, whether it's an Intercontinental title or maybe give him a world title run, but I think Intercontinental title sounds more believable for him. I just don't think it's going to happen now because I think Finn is going to be the one that takes that title off of Dom.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll still be a good match. I don't think he's going to win.
Gotcha. Next, we have Bayley come out to the ring, and she gave a promo about how she does what she does for the fans, not for titles or accolades. She said Becky Lynch taking her out before WrestleMania only had made her stronger. Becky actually eventually did come out to the ring to respond and said the fans were happier to see her at Mania than they would have been Bayley. Lynch agreed to defend the women's championship, IC championship, I should say, against Bayley before taking a swing at her. Obviously, she missed. So the role model knocked her down and out of the ring. I love that Becky Lynch came out in Chicago Bears gear as they were in Green Bay. So that was very good. They were clearly not happy about that. But I'm really starting to like this heel Becky Lynch. It's starting to grow on me a little bit more and more every week, and I think she's really molding herself into a very good role as heel. But overall, I thought the segment was okay. It was standard, wasn't any straightforward. But what would you tell us about the segment between Becky Lynch and Bayley?
I feel differently about the the Becky heel turn than you do. I just think it's kind of it was very rushed, in my opinion. It looks like they're gonna want to maybe turn Lyra into a heel. Good to see Bayley back.
Do you think they want to turn to a heel, or is it just more of a fiery, more of a pissed off baby face?
I think
she was doing, and you say this all the time. I'm gonna pull you for a second.
Okay.
For a long time, you say with I'm happy. I'm glad I'm here. I'm here. And she was doing that on the main roster for a little bit.
Hmm.
I think this is more of just of an edge, possibly for Lyra.
I hope so, because I don't think she's going to be a good heel if that's the case.
Oh,
But yeah, if she has more fire in her, good. Good to see Bailey back. I mean, Bailey looks cut. She looks a lot more. I think she's probably in the best shape I've ever seen her in, and she still got the yams. I got to point that out.
yeah.
And she she came out and cut a pretty good promo. Um, and Becky wearing the Chicago Bears jacket, which again, I'm not too big on like football rivalries other than like the teams I'm closer to. That's Green Bay's rival, right? The Bears.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, like anything NFC North is big rivalry. So like Bears versus Vikings, Vikings versus Green Bay versus the Bears. So yeah,
All right. So again, the segment was what it was, but Bailey.
it's Houston versus San Antonio. I'll just say that.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it was what it was. Good to see Bailey back. That's kind of the biggest takeaway I have from it.
All right. Well, we are going to be moving on here, and possibly outside of Goldberg, this is the story of the night, story of the week, maybe in WWE. As of this point, we have Liv Morgan versus Kairi Sane. Yeah, basically, this match began before, or it stopped before it really even began. They did a basic, spot at the beginning where they're not necessarily chain wrestling per se, but they're getting their chain spots in at the very beginning. Kairi Sane took down Liv Morgan, and she immediately rolled out of the ring, started grabbing her shoulder, and the legitimate injury, and separated shoulder from Liv Morgan. And this is coming from PW Insider that Liv Morgan's separated shoulder will require surgery, according to multiple WWE sources. This is pretty much the worst case scenario from the freak injury this past Monday, as it means that she'll be out for a lengthy amount of time, which is looking to be 6 months. It was saying that it may be up to 3 months, but after further evaluation, it looks like she's gonna need surgery. She's gonna be out for 6 months, and looks like she's not gonna be returning until Rumble season or around there. Sucks for Liv Morgan because she, to me, right now, outside of Rhea Ripley, 1 and 2 as far as women on the WWE roster. But that's why, well, yeah, on the WWE roster, and maybe definitely on Monday Night Raw. But question I have for you. How do you think Liv Morgan will bounce back from this?
She'll be fine. I mean, she can come back at the Rumble and get a big reaction. Like it's easy. Like it's an easy sell. And also, with everything going on with Roxanne and the Judgment Day, there's your Mania match. There's your big Mania match. Roxanne versus fucking Liv. So I think Liv will do fine. Liv is going to be over. She was
for the world title.
It could be for the world title. I mean, Roxanne could win the world title by the time Liv comes back, and then Liv can get it back. So
does Roxanne win Queen of the Ring and thus win the Women's World Championship from Io, and she has to run it through up until WrestleMania?
I believe she could. Because now with Liv out, I mean, I hate to sound insensitive. It's almost like a happy accident. Where
I was gonna say that I think this was an unfortunate blessing in disguise,
right,
for Liv Morgan. And I think they were gonna turn her babyface anyway eventually with this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was gonna be a slow burn with Roxanne, but now it's gonna be accelerated when I think Roxanne could possibly win the championship, and then you'll have Liv Morgan come back at the Royal Rumble, and Liv Morgan could win the Royal Rumble.
Right, and then also you have Finn, kind of planting seeds of like wanting to like usurp the Judgment Day and like change everyone's minds. So who knows? By the time Liv comes back, Raquel could be siding with Roxanne, because Raquel can be like, wherever you want, I needed you to live.
Where does this leave Dom? Does Dom turn babyface?
I think he should, because he's getting cheered, and Dom's at a position where, 5 years ago it was just like, this kid sucks, like, get him off my television, to now he's one of the best parts of the show, to now he's one of the best, in-ring performers on the show.
He's really good. He's gotten really good.
Yeah, he's really fucking good. Like, he's a candidate for most improved so far.
I'll say this. I'll say this too as well. And I predict this at the beginning of the year in our predictions. I predicted Dom would be a breakout babyface. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We still got time for that though. But kind of say one by forfeit. Who gives a fuck about the actual match itself? Liv Morgan's going to be out, and that's a huge blow to the women's division. But this gives women like Accepted Vicaire, Ivy Nile, Asuka, it gives those type of women to step up. Obviously, Roxanne and Kyrie to all step up and see what they do. So we'll hopefully get things come out of this here for the women's division at the end of the day. So moving on here to our main event, Jey Uso versus Rusev versus Sheamus versus Bronson Reed. Last King of the Ring match here. Jey Uso wins, beats Rusev, Sheamus, and Bronson Reed after hitting 2 Uso splashes for the win. And we already kind of talked about this at the beginning of the show as well with Jey Uso. But I thought the match itself was good. I thought it was good. It wasn't great, but I thought the match itself was pretty good as well. And I thought Michael Cole and Corey Graves, forgot to say at the beginning of this particular review that Corey Graves is back on commentary on Raw. Maybe it's just for this week, but maybe I don't think it's for this week. I think Pat McAfee may be getting ready for College Game Day, or maybe he's getting out of WWE. I don't know. Maybe that's just a thought that came in my head there. But
I don't think Pat needs WWE, to be honest. Like, I think it's more of a thing of WWE would want him, but I don't think he needs it, because he has the podcast, which is making him more money than WWE, and he's also a part of ESPN. So, and also Pat lately has been kind of like, his work has been kind of decreasing a little bit. Corey, I've always liked Corey. I think Corey always got a bad rap. And I think the Worlds Collide show, I think, is what kind of lit a fire under him and helped him get that passion back. So yeah. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing the team of Corey and Michael, and just let NXT be Booker T and Vic Joseph, kind of the way it's always been. But that's just me.
Right. Well, that was Monday Night Raw. I would love to hear you guys' opinion about Monday Night Raw. Rating out of 10 in the chat. And also on YouTube as well. Leave a comment down below for that. So, alrighty, moving on to NXT here. NXT had a average viewers of 660,000 viewers, a 0.16 in the 18 to 49 demographic last night on the CW network. Drew, what was your biggest takeaway from NXT from last night?
Pretty good show. You had Blake Monroe come out and do her official contract signing, which was a very quick segment, but it did its job to get her acquainted with the WWE audience. At the same time, I was actually very happy that they didn't go the route that I thought they were going to go, which is Barry or Women's Champion. But no, they still made JC look like something. They made Toxic Attraction. Or no,
what do you think about her presentation?
Fatal Influence. I'm sorry. No, yeah, Blake Monroe. I think she definitely has a good presence about her. She looks like something. Um, but
The theme.
the theme, it remains to be seen. How she's gonna fare well in it. But I think
Do you
she'll do
like the
fine.
theme? Or interesting?
To be honest, I forgot what the theme was.
Okay.
I remember her coming out, obviously, but the theme, I kind of forgot what it was. I need to hear it
It,
again.
it,
But
it sounds like Sabrina Carpenter, and they're kind of making her like WWE Sabrina, which is nothing wrong with that, obviously. But I think they're kind of trying to make her like WWE's version of Sabrina Carpenter. And hey, you know what? I think it works. It sounded like AI Sabrina Carpenter. I will say that, which is not a bad thing. I mean, you're gonna take the current biggest pop star in the world, and you know, and then kind of have a song that kind of sounds like her. I think that was a good move from WWE. I think the theme is gonna catch on. Like glamour is forever. But someone who did not have a great theme was
Jordan Grace, Jesus.
Jordan Grace. And I'm skipping way ahead here, but since we're on the subject about it though. Jordan Grace got a new theme song. It was like Juggernaut, Juggernaut. Then it's like some crappy like metal rock song or whatever it was, like just very generic. And the fans in the performance center chant "Fire Def Rebel."
Agreed.
It's not good for Def Rebel. Not good for Def Rebel. But back to Blake Monroe. Yeah, I think she has a look. She's gonna be a huge star for this fucking company. Make this company a lot of money. And the fact that she is not afraid to go in the ring, because we've seen as of right now, my second women's match of the year of Tony Storm versus Mariah May in that Hollywood ending brawl. She's gonna go in the ring and she's gonna put her body in line. So not only she's beautiful and hot, she can fucking kick ass in the ring, and that's the best thing you can have for a woman. So, in wrestling. But any other thoughts about the Blake Monroe segment?
It was fine. The audience, I don't know if maybe I just didn't have the volume up the right way, but those fans were not really reacting to much of anything last night. And I mean, the Mariah May or Blake Monroe skit, they were at least reacting to it because she's a brand new star. Everything else, I mean, the Jordan Grace and Lola Vice match, they were just very ho hum about it, and the match was actually very good, and the fans are chanting for Lola. It seems like the fans were more for Lola than they were for Jordan. But you knew Jordan was actually going to win the match. And like you said, that theme was ass cheeks. Like, that was just bad. The rest of the show, the fans are just really kind of sitting on their hands for the majority of the show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on to the beginning of NXT here, you had Jay Parker versus Thea Hale. Parker defeats Hale, and I thought was a decent match, but Hale felt Parker tapped out, and she went on social media that she said she tapped out, but the referee didn't see it, so it allowed Jada to hit her Fisher for the 1-2-3 win. Great thoughts about this match, this opener to NXT.
It's a pretty good match. Again, Jada needs a new finisher, like that drive-by ass slam. I don't know what it's called, but I think she needs a new finisher. I don't know what it should be, but it needs to be something a little bit more effective.
What have you seen her do in the ring that you think will possibly be a good finisher outside of that?
Maybe like a variation of what Drew McIntyre does, that DDT. Maybe she can do that.
That's fair.
I don't know, because think about wrestling moves. To me, this is just how I feel. Is never been the biggest fan of video game wrestling, but I think an exception can be made for finishers where they look pretty cool, but they look like they hurt.
Right.
but they don't really hurt. You know what I mean? Like in real life, nobody is going to go up to somebody and do an RKO or a Stone Cold Stunner or a pile driver. Like that's stuff that's in a video game, and that's what makes those moves effective and cool. A move like whatever Jada does, it just looks very ineffective. Where it's like somebody should be kicking out of that. That doesn't look like a finisher. That looks more like a signature move or just a side move.
Right.
But that's just me.
Gotcha there. Moving on, we had Kalani Jordan versus Lash Legend. And Lash Legend, I don't know why these don't say that, but Lash Legend picks up the win here. And I thought this was a very good match. I thought it was better than the opener. Two styles that clash very well together. Kalani's like their RVD in a way.
Right.
I mean, I'm just like her, but and Lash Legend, I will admit she has been getting better. She has been growing on me, and that's good for her. That's what you want to see in NXT. You want to see development. 2 years ago, I couldn't stand her in ring. I thought she was good as a character, but her in ring I thought was terrible. And now she's starting to develop, and which is what you want to see. You want to see progress, and hopefully she continues that progress there. But what did you think about this match?
I mean, I can't really add anything else to that you added already. I mean, it was a fine match. Made sense for Lash to win because Lash, looks like something. Kalani, I think, is still, slowly but surely becoming a heel.
I mean, how much longer does she need to turn? She hasn't fully turned yet.
Well, she needs to find somebody to turn on. That's the thing.
Do you think it's just more of the situation, kind of like I was talking about earlier with Lyra, where she's just being more of a, like, I won't say pissed off, but like a more aggressive babyface?
I think in Kalani's case, I think she would work better as a heel because she seems like she's too nice. Whereas Lyra's Irish. So
I would not believe Kalani Jordan as a heel.
Lyra's Irish, and Irish girls are naturally aggressive, coming from experience. Kalani, I think, could work as a heel, in my opinion. I think that's something she needs, because she's kind of been a little, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess a little uninspired, lately. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, moving on here on NXT last night, we have Tony D'Angelo coming out, and man wants to know what happened between Stacks and Luca Crucifino in the desert. Luca Crucifino was out there and repeated the same story that he did before, and he denied being any kind of ally to Stacks. Stacks came out there and tried to entice Luca to turn on Tony D. Luca and Tony tried to fight off his cronies, which is Stacks. Stacks has cronies now. But Luca accidentally took down Tony with a big right hand when Stacks ducked, leading to the usual misunderstanding in these particular situations here. So, quick thoughts about the Tony D, Stacks, and Luca Crucifino segment.
I think Rizzo is behind it because she's been noticeably absent, which she's in WITSEC, I know that, but I think she's I think she's behind it somehow.
I know. Ah!
All that gabagool.
I know. I want the gabagool. I want her to make me some fucking gabagool, man. God damn it. She can feed me all the gabagool. I mean, anyway. I think you're right. I think, I think that's where we're going here. I think maybe Rizzo's the new Dawn.
Hey, she be a hot Dawn.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. We have the 6-man tag of the TNA World Champion of Trick Williams with AJ Francis and Casey Navarro versus Elijah, Josh Briggs, and Iramura. And Iramura pins Trick Williams.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little bit surprising there. I don't know where they're going with that, but I'm glad that they did a little bit of an unpredictable ending here with the Trick Williams getting pinned by Iramura. But very good match. At one point in the match here, Adrian Francis pretended to do the dive on the outside, and he faked did the dive. So AJ Francis seems like he's in his own element with Casey Navarro. I do like their group over there down in TNA. And Aaron Miro's always been good. Elijah, the former Elias, he's always been pretty solid in the ring. And Josh Briggs is very good as well. But what were your thoughts about this six-man tag?
I mean, I was surprised that Inamura pinned Trick.
Yeah.
I was kind of confused afterwards because Inamura's telling Josh Briggs, hey, I'm going to go after the NXT championship and you can go after the TNA championship. I'm like, shouldn't you want to go after Trick because you just pinned him?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I just thought that was weird. But, I'd rather see Josh Briggs go after Oba. I mean, because they had that triple threat last year. I mean, that had Dijak in it. But,
right.
I don't know. I like Josh Briggs. I think he has an interesting look. How far he gets, I don't know. Because you can only get so far with your I'm a tough guy from the South, gimmick. You need something else to it. So, I don't know. Again, it was a good match. Just kind of weird implications after it.
Yeah. And also, as well, I said Casey Navarro, he wasn't in his match. He was replaced by Wesley in the match. But nevertheless, I thought the match was pretty good. But we got a Chase U segment that was backstage there. He was with his new class. So that was a quick little segment there, a standard Chase U segment. Next, we had Zarya versus Izzy Dame. Izzy Dame defeated Zarya. Tam Paxley came out to distract Zarya by hugging Sol Ruka and, from behind, freaking her out, which opened the door for Dame hitting the spine buster for the win. So I thought this was, again, I thought the women, and Zarya looked good here. I thought Izzy Dame looked pretty good in here as well. I thought this was a pretty standard women's match. I thought it was pretty good overall. So, but the calling though itself feels like an afterthought as of late, in my opinion. But
it seems like Izzy is becoming the bigger star out of that group.
I mean, that's what happened with Jada Parker and OTM. So
yeah, I mean, again, not complaining because
yeah.
They need to build more stars with the thousands of people that they have on payroll.
Yeah. Moving on, we already talked about Jordan Grace's terrible theme. She went up against Lola Vice here. Grace defeated Lola Vice here in this match, and again another good women's match here on the show. Lola Vice looked great out there in this match. She probably one of her best outings. In my opinion, but yeah, I mean, and this whole show was built around 4 eliminator matches as well. So, for the next, they're looking for a new number 1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. So, but I thought, I thought this match was very, very good. In my opinion, the best out of the 4 women's matches. But what were your thoughts about this match here?
I kind of slightly mentioned earlier. I mean, I thought the match was very good. I thought it was very back and forth and less predictable. The fans are very pro Lola. She's got her fans. Aside from Jordan's theme being diarrhea, she went out there and performed, and it more than likely looks like she's gonna win that Fatal 4-Way next week, and go on to face what's her name? JC at Evolution. So
what's her name?
I don't know. It's again, lack of sleep, so I tend to forget small things like names.
Yeah, no worries.
But I think that's the way it's kind of gonna look, and I do agree with Fire Death Rebel. So
yeah, I think we all agree with that, but. And the main event, we already kind of talked about it already, but Blake Monroe is officially in NXT here. The segment ends here with Fallon Henley, JC Jane coming out there, Phil Influence coming out there, and you see JC Jane putting Blake Monroe through a table. I love the presentation of Blake Monroe. I like, again, the Sabrina Carpenter-like theme. It sounds very good. I like it. I think it's Ketchy. And they allowed her to go out there and cut a promo. So, you know, I mean, you can't really. She sounds like a star. That's one thing I will say too as well. She just sounds like a fucking star, and you know, hopefully they do well with her in NXT. But I thought the segment was decent. Wasn't anything fantastic, but I thought it was decent overall. But official thoughts about this main event segment on NXT.
I thought it did what it needed to do for all parties involved. It, you know, got Blake over as this brand new star, and it ended with, you know, the top heel faction, including the, you know, the women's champion, standing tall and taking her out, because I was kind of worried that they were going to do something where Blake takes out all three of them. I'm like, I hope not, but. No, they all end up ganging up on her and take her out, and the women's champion standing tall. I'm like, all right, good. That's what you needed to do, because with JC, you know, the consensus is that she's going to be a short-term champion, which she is, but you don't want that to be too obvious, especially with, you know, your casual fans and, you know, your hardcore fans that watch everything WWE related.
Right.
So I like the fact that they were like, you know, we still got to make her look strong. We don't want to just make her look like a bitch and, you know, get shit on every week.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, let's leave your thoughts about NXT down below in the comment section there. If you're watching this here on YouTube, we'd love to hear your thoughts about this. And yeah, what was your favorite segment of the show for NXT? All right. So that was it for the shows here. Quickly on Dynamite, last week they had a 597 average of viewers for Dynamite, and because they had the fucking 4-hour show, right? So Collision, after the fact, they lost 200,000 viewers. Jesus Christ. 397,000 and a .09 in the 18 to 49. So since day at least people are not going to be watching wrestling until midnight, especially on a Wednesday, especially for AEW. But tonight they had Arena Mexico. Got some news coming out of the show here that just came up as we're live here on the show. But MJF during the show tonight, he demasked Mystico and walked out of the Arena Mexico with Mystico's mask, wearing his mask, right? So, according to Sean Ross Sapp, a fan went after MJF at the hotel connected to the airport tonight after AEW CMLL Grand Slam Mexico. MJF's fine, but he's proud of the heat. That was good. So, hey, man. MJF is getting real heel heat down in Mexico, where a fan went after him tonight. So, I'm pretty sure we'll hear more details about it later this week, but quick thoughts about that.
I mean, just good to hear that MJF is still trying to keep it kayfabe and, you know, not worried about getting liked by everybody.
All right. I 100% think that you did not watch anything AEW tonight. Am I right?
You're correct, sir.
All right. Well, Heyman Adam Page went out there and he cut a promo in Spanish. Full on in Spanish. Didn't know you know how to speak Spanish? Fucking cool. But the rest of the show tonight, I don't know if is it still going on right now?
I don't know. Somebody in the chat, fill us in. Is it still going on?
Hold on. I'll bring it up real quick. But if it's still going on right now, let me see real quick.
Kyle says no.
Okay. Well, Kyle said no. Okay, because I'm still getting highlights on the feed right now, so I don't know what the hell's going on. But maybe it's for Collision. I'm not too sure, but whatever. But let's end it here with some quick rapid fire news stories, and we'll call it a show here. Earlier today, and this came from at Hey Terezi on X. He put a screenshot from Square Circle on Reddit saying that Hulk Hogan allegedly on deathbed with heart issue. As per today, the Bubba the Love Sponge show, obviously take a pinch with salt, but he's reporting that Hogan, he's in the hospital with heart issues, and family members have been summoned to say their goodbyes. This guy here said, "Tap out, Hogan, tap out." It went on to be coming from PW Insider and multiple other news outlets that the news of Hulk Hogan on his deathbed is not accurate. Hogan was hospitalized over the last several days, but it's not a heart issue. Hogan was having some adverse reactions, not related to his heart, from the trauma of all the back and now neck surgeries he's endured at 71 years old that led to his hospitalization. The expectation that Hogan will be released to go home later today, which is tonight now. But really quick thoughts on the Hogan deathbed scare, I guess, if you want to call it that.
I mean, regardless of how we may feel about Hogan or anyone else out there, it's you don't want to see these things happen to anyone.
Right.
I mean, I can't speak for everyone. I don't know how everyone thinks, but I'm glad to hear that he's doing better. So he can go back to lying about everything else again. But yeah, that's
at this point, isn't that his charm?
What was that?
I said, at this point, isn't that his charm, just lying about everything? I guess, I don't know.
I almost died, brother.
Yeah.
I saw heaven, brother, and I even body slammed Andre the Giant again, brother.
Right. All right. Well, hope Hogan makes a full recovery. I mean, I saw the discourse on X. I'll just say this: if you want to see anybody die, that's not someone like a Hitler or something like that. You really need to, get your mind checked, because despite how we feel about him, as a person, like, he is a person at the end of the day. He's a human being at the end of the day, and you shouldn't want to see anyone die. Next, here in our quick rapid fire news stories here, private parties at AEW's deals are up very soon. That's coming from Wrestling Observer newsletter, and coming from Fightful Select, that private party, the former AEW World Tag Team Champions, have interest from WWE. So it's a possibility that private party, and it's a possibility that they may possibly go to WWE if WWE has interest in them. Very good dynamic tag team, a very high flying tag team. They do a lot of innovative stuff, similar to the Lucha Bros. Drew, I'll ask you a quick question here. Where do you see Private Party by the end of this year?
WWE already has Private Party, and that's the Street Profits.
That did not answer the question.
I'll answer the question. I'm just fucking. I mean, if they come, again, it's one of those things of, like, if they come, they'll be cool. If not, oh well. But again, let's wait and see.
Okay, well, do you think they'll be a good asset as far as the tag team in WWE?
I mean, more tag teams. I mean, the WWE needs more, like,
especially for NXT, maybe.
Right, but I'm saying, like, WWE in general. They need more, like, actual tag teams, and not just, like, these makeshift thrown together tag teams.
What if I told you that Private Party's gimmick they came up with first in the Indies before Street Profits became a tag team? Would you believe that?
I'd agree with you, because you know more than me, so I don't argue with you on this.
I mean, no, I'm just saying, like, I see that all the time. Like, they're a knockoff Street Profits. Well, they pretty much did the gimmick first, but I mean, not to say they're not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying, like, they did start it first, so. But yeah, it remains to be seen with Private Party. Next, we have the Amazon Prime American Gladiators reboot, hosted by The Miz. We'll also have Rick Boogs, Wardlow, and Camille on the show as gladiators. Will you be watching the new Amazon Prime American Gladiators reboot? I love American Gladiators from back in the day in the early 90s, so I may give it a shot.
I probably will not be watching.
Oh, okay. Have you seen American Gladiators before, like back in the early 90s?
I might have a long time ago. I remember watching I remember watching a documentary about it on Netflix. But
Yeah.
other than that, I never really sat down and watch it.
I'm playing. I'm putting it on YouTube after this. I gotta watch one episode a night. Fucking theme song by itself is fantastic. But yeah, if you guys want to watch it, it will be on Amazon Prime. I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm pretty sure we'll get information about that very soon. Moving on, Omos has revealed that he signed a WWE contract extension. He says, I've been training really hard and working on some new things, and I think it's going to be a really fun ride ahead, especially because I just signed a renewal with WWE, and we'll be there years to come. So the giant Omos is staying with WWE for at least the next several years. Thoughts about that?
For the love of God, can they use the guy already? Like, Omos is really good. Like, the guy can work, he has personality, he can talk shit. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just, for whatever reason, it's like, shit or get off the pot. Like, use him. There's so many times you could have used this guy already. But, for whatever reason, they're just like, oh, we'll just send him back down to, I don't know, was it Noah? Or was it Noah? Or...
He went to Pro Wrestling Noah, yeah. And one of the tag team titles down there too. So
yeah, and like that's cool, but it's like, for the love of God, just use this guy already. Use him for something.
What in the current landscape of WWE and how Triple H books, what makes sense for Omos? Do you see him as a guy that will win like a title or some shit like that? Or
I mean, he should, because it's like with big guys, you need to book them like they're big guys. You need to book them to be more dominant.
Wait, hold on. We gotta talk about this. He's a giant.
Yeah.
Who else is a giant?
There is literally
outside him.
There is literally no other giants in the company.
Right. Would you say that Triple H's current landscape, as far as in-ring stuff, is it more theatrical, or is it more like, hey, we're trying to have a fucking good match here?
I think he's very much about like in-ring psychology. Maybe he can go to NXT and see if Sean can do something with him.
You don't want to go in NXT.
I don't know. It's just like, for the love of God, use the guy already. The guy has talent. He looks like something. He can be a star if you can.
What would you do with him if you have the pen? What would you do with Omos? How would you book him?
I'd put him on SmackDown. Raw seems a little too bloated right now. Just have him just go through people. Have him go through people, get his heat back, and then put him in a feud with like more of like an underneath like babyface, or fighting from underneath babyface, like a Cody,
who?
like a Cody, like a Sammy, like.
What's the end goal? Just a regular feud? Is it going to be for a title? What's the implications of Omos?
I mean, put a title on him. Eventually, you need to put a title on him.
Like United States?
United States, that can be one. I mean, maybe he can be a world champion for like a month.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
All right. I don't know. Again, I like Omos, but it's like they need to...
I like Omos too, but I mean, we gotta be realistic here. Yeah, I mean,
they need to do something with them.
I mean, I love Finn Balor. He's Finn Balor's like, at this point, probably like one of my top 10 of all time. I love Finn Balor, but I came to grips that he's not gonna win the world title.
Right.
And I can accept it because I look at things realistically. I like Omos. He's really fucking underrated at what he does. But I think what you're asking for is not the role that he's there for WWE. He's there for, as I won't say as an ambassador, but he's there as a figurehead, as a guy that will come in, to your corporate events and things of that nature, and he's probably going to be there for certain spots like the Royal Rumble. He's going to be there. I think he's probably going to be used more as an attraction. I think that's possibly the best thing to do, which is nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with him being an attraction. You know what I mean? But I don't foresee him being in a program a long-winning program where he is going after the world title. Like, I don't see that.
Right. Okay. Well, again, just they need to find a way to book him to make him look.
I
feel
agree
like
with
something.
that. I definitely agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last and not least here, coming from Fightful Select, and this is the very, very popular wrestler of the month, Mr. Iguana and WWE are finalizing a deal that sees him make future appearances. Again, coming from Fightful Select. What do you think about that? What do you think about Mr. Iguana being the standout star of AAA after having one match?
I mean, good for him. You know, the theme of tonight's show is, you know, what, you know, WWE is doing things based off of what makes them money. And
Right.
so far, Mr. Iguana is making them money. I don't know how much money he's making them, but he's making them money because of the little iguana toy. So, good for him. I got really nothing else to add to that other than, you know.
Do you want to see him like pop up on like a Raw, a SmackDown, NXT? Like,
I'd rather see him
because
going.
from what it sounds like here, it says they're finalizing a deal that sees him make future appearances. That's not AAA. That's main WWE TV.
He's going to show up on the main roster.
Royal Rumble for sure.
Royal Rumble. He's going to get a Royal Rumble spot. I can imagine them maybe even bringing Santino back for a spot where they do like the Cobra versus the Iguana.
I would love that. That's a smart idea. Yeah, I would like to see that.
Yeah. So good for our boy, Mr. Iguana.
Right. Well, and that's the news there. And did you have anything that you want to bring up news wise? If not, that's fine.
No, sir. I got nothing.
Yeah, nothing there. Well, all right. Well, after 2+ hours here, 2.5 hours here, that is the show. Thank you Drew for letting me do this here. I thought it went better than I was expecting, but it was
you're the birthday boy.
Yeah, well, it was a very, very, very fun show. And guys, again, leave your thoughts down below about everything that we talked about as far as the news is concerned and all the shows. And we'll love to hear your comments about that. And maybe we'll read them next week here live on the show here. But
I do have one more thing to add.
Yeah.
And granted, it's late in the night, so I'll make this quick. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Justin. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I didn't even get happy birthday sung to me from my father or my sister today because they know that I absolutely despise it. So, but I appreciate it though. So, yeah, ever since I was little, I hate being sung to happy birthday. But,
I mean, I don't like singing either, but I wanted to do it to you because
I'll make sure I'll sing it to you in a good rendition. I'll have music and everything. So,
I welcome it. I hope you do.
I'll make sure that's uncomfortable as possible too, as I just felt. No, I'm just kidding.
If you can't make your friends feel uncomfortable, then you're not really friends. So
yeah, but anyway, So let's hear from you, Drew. Where can they find you here on the lovely internet?
They can find me on Twitter X. I still call it Twitter because fuck Elon Musk. DY Experience. There's also an Instagram page. There's a TikTok page where I've been creating a lot of shorts from the YouTube page and adding it onto TikTok as well as Instagram. And they've been getting some good traction. I've been getting comments from, people. They've been getting some nice little views, so I'm digging that. And also the YouTube page, which is a Drew Yard Experience, or just Experience. You can look us up. We go live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Time.
I think Drew Yard Experience probably be a little bit better because to find it in the algorithm, but yeah.
Right, because there's also the Jim Cornette Experience. There's the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah. Just type in Drew Yari Experience if you're trying to find us. So,
but yeah, or just Drew Yari, wherever you want to do. But And then the show you can find anywhere where podcasts are distributed, such as iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker. And yeah, we'll be back next week where we're going to be doing Night of Champions predictions. And that's about it.
Or will it still be a Night of Champions? I hope so.
Wait, I think next Wednesday I might not be here, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, we'll find out. Stay tuned, guys, and we'll. I'm pretty sure Drew will get out there on social media as well, on X and Instagram and all that stuff about the show on the stats of the show for next week. So yeah.
all right, but Justin, where can they find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me here, obviously, here in the Wrestle Soup Discord here, but also SpineBusterTees, SpineBusterTees.com. You guys know where to find me, and you'll be able to get yourself a wrestling t-shirt. Also, you'll be able, if you want to visit SpineBusterTees at Wonderland of the Americas inside of Crossroads Mall in San Antonio, Texas, where you can get yourself a wrestling t-shirt, a wrestling hat, a wrestling action figure, Funko Pop, lucha mask, hats, socks, got everything. Maybe condoms soon. I don't know if they have wrestling condoms out there, but yeah, come visit me. The store's been a very huge success, especially lately as well. So can't thank all of my patrons enough, and it's a community. We're kind of developing a little bit of a community inside my shop too as well. So and that's what I love about it. But that's SpineBusterTees on Instagram, SpineBusterTees at the Wonderland of the Americas, and SpineBusterTees.com. And guys, with that being said here, thank you guys so much for joining us here on The Experience here. And it's 11:30 here in San Antonio, Texas. 2.5 hours. I think we went long enough here. And you guys have a great night. And my birthday is over in 29 minutes. So very much so appreciate this opportunity here. And who knows, maybe next year we'll do this again like this. But I'll see you guys later. Drew will see you guys later. And you guys have a great night. Peace out.
All right. Oh man.